What's up, everybody? This is Alex Worldwide Keller, and you're listening to The Card is Going to Change. And let me tell you about one of our beautiful, amazing, gracious, and awesome sponsors. That's right, it's Pollyanna DIY at Pollyanna DIY on Twitter, on Instagram. Go to PollyannaDIY.com, and you can get all sorts of amazing buttons, shirts, pins, the whole kit and caboodle. That's right, PollyannaDIY.com. But now, let's take it to the reason that you hit download, the reason that you are streaming. That's right, the card is going to change.
Hello once again, everybody. Thanks for listening to AIW's The Card is Going to Change. Before we get into this week's episode, as always, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors that help us bring the show to you for free each and every week. Firstly, thanks to Angelo's Pizza. They're feeding us here as they always do while we record, and they, of course, bring pizza to you at our live events at Mount Carmel. If you want to try more of their pizza or anything else on their menu, it's all delicious. Head to Angelo's on Madison Avenue in Lakewood, Ohio. And thanks to Smart Mark Video, they record all of our live events. And if you want to relive any of those or watch them for the first time, you can purchase that on DVD or digital download from smartmarkvideo.com. And additionally, head to powerbomb.tv, sign up using the code ABSOLUTE, and you will get a 20-day trial for free. And then stick around and just keep watching the shows that we put out there from the AIW archives. And as always, thanks to Jack Prince, who helps take care of all of our printing and graphic design needs. They can do all of that and more for you, whether it be banners, t-shirts, business cards, flyers, everything and anything. For all that they have to offer, head to jackprince.com.
JAKPrince.com.
Yeah, that's right. That voice right there, none other than AIW owner John Thorne. He joins us as always, and I say...
No Duke this week. We've finally gotten rid of the Duke.
I was just going to say, when I say us, I mean John Thorne, myself, Steve Guy, your moderator of sorts, and you, the fans listening.
Mike Burns told me he's had enough of the Duke for the last month, so I got to rotate him out.
Did you see him get grouchy because he didn't get mentioned in a tweet by...
Oh, the Duke?
Yeah.
He always gets grouchy because he doesn't get mentioned.
By one of our sponsors. Our wonderful people at Pollyanna DIY.
Oh yeah, he always gets grumpy.
They made a mention about a podcast from last week, and the Duke was like, "Oh, was I not on this podcast?"
He helps the young kids. Remember, that's his new role.
That's right. He's a mentor.
His new role is helping the young kids. Mentor Pete. So yeah, we're just gonna do a two man booth this week to change it up a little bit. Encouraging everyone to please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast because, I don't know if it's the Duke or not, but the downloads went down a little bit the last couple weeks.
Man.
I gotta make sure everyone's subscribed. I gotta make sure the algorithms are rolling.
How did people feel about that Swoggle call-in?
I don't know. I haven't gotten a lot of feedback on that.
No feedback on that? That was the first time ever for us.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
First call-in ever to
it wasn't planned.
Podcast.
It wasn't planned either.
No. We FaceTimed it, but people obviously didn't. They can't see.
He FaceTimed me.
Yeah, that's true. He FaceTimed you.
Which I don't like phone calls and I don't like FaceTimes. And it was like a combination of both somehow that he did.
You barely like talking to people in person.
Yeah,
so that's just like your worst nightmare because that's both of them pretty much together. That's a phone call and face-to-face.
I like being calculated with my interaction with people.
Yeah.
Very calculated. Can't be calculated on FaceTime.
No. You could turn the camera around, I guess. I don't know.
But let's get that algorithm going. Let's get the subscriptions back up, or I don't know how podcasting works, but I know you're supposed to subscribe, and it helps the numbers. So
get those things going, and listen, if you want to subscribe to our Patreon account, this is gonna be one of those episodes where we tell you about everything.
No, that's not. We haven't revamped the Patreon yet.
Well, I was gonna say, if you have ideas that you would like to see us do.
Dominic Guarini has decided that he was going to.
He's got some plans.
He's got some plans to revamp the Patreon. So we're not gonna plug that just yet, but.
Okay.
You should plug once the Patreon gets going. We are going to need all your help based on the topic of this episode, which will be AIW heading to a WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, you want to just? I mean, I know that you just wrapped up a big. I don't know what to do. I guess, for lack of better words, with the con over the weekend, but we'll get into that on a different episode. So. Are you more relaxed, or now it's like, oh, well, WrestleMania weekend?
I'm never relaxed.
That's fair.
I think the world is falling down around me at pretty much all times. So this has just made it worse because my obsessive compulsive whatever goes on about wrestling is just going to be focusing on this thing all the way till April, and it's November, the first week in November right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I once heard you say, but I more than once heard you say, especially after we did WrestleCon for the last couple WrestleManias. Yeah, I mean, I like doing WrestleCon, but I'll never run a show on WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I felt very strongly about that, and I'm going to tell you exactly what changed about that is the fact that I almost died last year coming out of WrestleMania. That did something to change my mindset or whatever. It really didn't until Brett Lauderdale contacted me and he said, "Hey, I have this idea," and he presented it to me. And I did feel very strongly about never wanting to jump into all that because it's a war zone.
Right.
But, he presented it to me and he presented the idea to me. And, I guess, coming out of that hospital stay or whatever you want to call it,
kind of what I would call it.
Well, there was a lot going on there, you know what I mean? But it kind of changed my mindset. And, once I saw that, I kind of felt like, I'm sick of kind of just sitting on the sidelines wondering what if.
Okay.
It was just kind of like, all right, like, you need to do this.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of like I need to, just get my redemption or whatever you want to call it on the weekend that almost killed me last year. But it's, for whatever reason, I was just like, yeah, fuck yeah, like, let's do it. I'm in.
Do you think if it goes well, will you want to do more? Or like you're just saying you're tired of having this what if and sitting on the sidelines? Or in your mind right now, is this a one-time deal?
Right now it's a one-time deal just to do it and succeed or fail on, what AIW is at this point. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like it's a perfect scenario with the location, and there's a lot of things to where it's going to be easier to do than, say, if WrestleMania is in San Jose or wherever the fuck, Alaska. It's just with the location being, in the New York, New Jersey area, it's drivable distance. There's a lot of things that, that have made it more convenient this time around. I have no plans on doing it ever again, no matter if it goes good or bad. And that's not saying that I won't do it, but I'm just saying I'm looking at this like, this is the end game. This is like a one and done. Like, let's throw it out there and see how it goes.
Well, for logistic purposes too, is everybody using one ring? Is there one ring that's just going to stay there all weekend for all the groups, or do you have to bring?
Yeah. So
everything?
It's going to be like the same set for all the shows,
okay,
as far as I know, and if people, could bring different canvases or whatever, you know what I mean, to dress up the ring. But as far as I know, it's going to be the same kind of setup for all the shows throughout the entire weekend.
That's less already that you have to, I guess, spend when you think about a huge U-Haul. If you had to drive everything,
I wouldn't necessarily say that. But
it's not. It's not that. It's more expensive because of where we are, and there's rentals. But I mean, in terms of the expense of logistics and driving all of that across to the East Coast.
I mean, it would be much cheaper if we just did a show in Cleveland. I'll put it that way.
Well,
but,
absolutely.
It's not cheap by any means, but throughout, I know the Duke hates this part, but I've been trying to do a very good job of keeping things in the green and kind of building up a rainy day fund and making sure we're not going to be in a situation to where I need to fucking go to a payday loan place or something, so I've built it up, and I thought to myself, what is my end game here? I'm not paying myself any money. Building up this money for safety reasons, but what am I ever going to do with it?
Yeah.
So, that also contributed to the factor of, okay, I've built up, a safe amount of money, what I feel is safe, which in independent wrestling is, it could go very quickly before April.
Right.
But it's way better than it's ever been before, throughout, since 2005, however fucking, I don't even know how many years I've been running AIW at this point. I'm bad at math.
This is the 13th year.
But, so, it's just, there's a lot of factors into it to where I was just like, you know what, like, fuck it. Let's do it. And, I know that I said that I never wanted to do it, and I still kind of feel that I never want to do it, but it's just like this weird, it's like when I talked about when I wrestled at Wrestle Rager, it's like I didn't want to do that either, but it made me feel kind of like alive again. Like,
okay,
I've been playing it safe for the most part. Like I said, trying to operate this like a business, to where AIW used to just operate like a whatever the fuck we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And we figured it out later. But so I've been playing it so safe, and it's just kind of like, after everything that happened after Wrestlemania Weekend last year, and, spending 3 weeks in the hospital, and, when this opportunity was, presented to me, it was just kind of like the right situation, I guess, for me to say yes. Like, I don't know that I would have said yes if nothing bad happened to me last year, and I would have been totally happy with just going to WrestleCon again and having fun and not having to deal with that stress of running an event in the war zone that is WrestleMania Weekend.
Yeah. So I'll get into that, but I had this theory, as we're gonna probably dive into the schedule here, that maybe a part of this was you getting sick when we were at WrestleMania last year. And I thought, oh, well, maybe John thinks this will keep him busy and preoccupied, and he'll be like more adult-like, I suppose, and responsible. But then we're on Thursday night, which leaves you the whole rest of the weekend.
Well, see, I do think like that, because even though it's on Thursday night, if this thing goes bad, which it very well could go bad, I could be going home on Saturday after WrestleCon. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
that's fair.
I could be headed home Saturday. I'm not flying this year. I'm gonna drive.
Yeah.
So I could very well just be like, all right, I'm going home. So part of it is to be responsible. I don't want to be that responsible, but I'm going to certainly, just even with my life in general, I've like gotten scared of having too much fun.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens, but
okay.
I mean, who know, if it goes really good, who fucking knows what's going to happen too.
All bets are off.
Nick Sank is already talking about renting limos and stuff. So
what?
We'll see.
That's got to go really well to start renting limos.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Well, so that Thursday we're on at midnight. You've got the Powerbomb TV Family Reunion, GCW running Bloodsport, and Interspecies Wrestling before us. I mean, I know this answer, but not everybody else. Thursday at midnight, is that by design for you?
That's the time slot that I wanted. Just, this stuff probably only makes sense in my head, but I'm running all these different scenarios and looking at time slots, and there wasn't even time slots offered initially. I just said, I just started, like I said, I get like obsessive compulsive about all these things. And I started, thinking of like, okay, well, what's going to happen on Friday? What's going to happen on Saturday? Thursday, Thursday is usually not that busy, years prior. But, I believe the first Janela Spring Break was on Thursday at midnight. So I started like doing that. I'm running all these different scenarios in my head. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to come out of this alive as possible.
Yeah.
And I thought that we would probably have very minimal competition at that time. However, my fear is, public people have to rely on public transportation, and New York City is very spread out, and there are going to be shows going on all over on Thursday, which usually not so many shows. I don't recall happening on Thursdays, but I figured Thursday at midnight would be the best. I didn't want to go during the day. I want to create an atmosphere. I do want people to show up drunk. I do want people to show up rowdy and ready to have fun.
Right.
Because I want to try to give as close to an authentic AIW experience as possible. And I just didn't think that could really happen at 4 p.m.
That's fair.
So, I requested midnight.
Unless it's Wrestle Rager, but
right, and I don't know if we could recreate Wrestle Rager at this
not in Jersey
this
City.
atmosphere, but so I asked for Thursday at midnight. I could that could also blow up in my face, because with all the pros I come up with just as many cons.
Yeah.
But I thought that there was probably less cons on Thursday than all the other days that we're on the table.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the war zone that is Wrestlemania Weekend in terms of shows. The collective, just to give everybody an idea, we've got, I don't know, what is it, 11 or 8, 9 shows here? 10? There you go. 4 Thursday, 4 Friday, 2 on Saturday. So that's 10 shows just from one grouping. And then you've got, obviously, all these other groups that are going to run different stuff, and then you're not even talking
and there may
about
be more
there
may be more shows added, to be honest, from what I hear. So
you're not even getting into the main companies. You're the Impact and the Ring of Honor and New Japan, if they want to do something. Or
they are. I mean, Ring of Honor is Saturday,
Ring of Honor's running, yeah, with
New Japan. So that's Saturday night is kind of a war zone. So that's probably why, more likely than not, the collective is going to be, it's going to go dark at, that time, because, Saturday is just, Saturday night is when you have your NXT, and then you have your Ring of Honor show, which they've already sold out the Garden with the New Japan guys. So, it's, the thing that I like about the collective, I guess, to also kind of back up, is when it was presented to me, as WrestleMania Weekend, it was presented to me as this independent gathering, right? But, to me, I look at it as WrestleMania Weekend was kind of what made it the WrestleMania Weekend was actual independent wrestling at the time. And now that a lot of that is gone, for better or for worse, you know what I mean? A lot of these companies have their associations with WWE, or an association with this company or that company. There's a lot of, I guess, just like corporate involvement now in independent wrestling all over.
You see some of these NXT guys, they're showing up at the other promotions and they're having matches there.
And that's all through a WWE relationship, and it's all through kind of like this. And I get it. WrestleMania is WWE's event. I get that they want to take control of every dollar that they could possibly control, but to me, it's just like, it's getting so kind of just, it's not independent wrestling anymore that's surrounding it. And that's, that's what the good of it was independent companies, even before Ring of Honor was as big as it is now, like they would draw their biggest crowds at WrestleMania weekend. And, it was there to kind of raise awareness and help these smaller companies. But, now Ring of Honor is owned by $1 billion corporation. And, WWE has for sure involvement with Evolve and everything that, they have going on for that weekend. And there's probably going to be way more things that are happening in the next few months. And I love independent wrestling. And what makes the Collective great is it is legitimately all these independent wrestling companies that are kind of bounding together and saying like, hey, like independent wrestling still exists without any outside interference from the WWE or Ring of Honor or any of these companies trying to tell us what we can and can't do. It's still very much so 100% independent as far as the companies that the Collective go. And don't get me wrong, there was a time where I dreamed of a WWE relationship, but that was also at a time when Biggins and I were sitting here with no money.
Yeah.
And now that things have gotten a little bit better, it kind of, and I see how those relationships are kind of starting to play out. I don't know that I necessarily would like somebody telling me what I had to do. That's the whole point why I'm an independent wrestling promoter, is because I don't want to be told what to do. I didn't want to go and work for somebody else. I wanted to do what I do and present my whatever vision I have of wrestling is, present that. And I think that's what's going to make the Collective so unique, because it is, 10 companies that have very unique ideas and styles and presentations of wrestling. And I don't think that you're going to get that variety at any of the other kind of different locations set up that are surrounding WrestleMania weekend. You're going to see a lot of the same guys on a lot of those shows. And I think at the Collective, you're going to get a much more diverse presentation of authentic, independent professional wrestling.
Yeah, I think you probably have a couple crossovers here or there, but I mean, to your point, everybody's kind of, you're different. Everybody does their own little thing. Does it take you back a little bit that you're running one night and then the next day you got Chikara? That's happening at the Collective.
I love that Chikara is happening at the Collective. I mean, Chikara did so much to help AIW out early. I was kind of shocked once I saw them on the list. But I think that they're a great fit because you're going to have Bloodsport happening on Thursday, and then Friday you're going to have Chikara. You know what I mean? It's two completely different things.
Yeah.
And you're going to have Interspecies and AIW in the middle of all that.
Right.
And those are going to be two completely different things. And you're going to have Black Label Pro. They're going to offer, the promoter of Black Label Pro he has all kinds of crazy shit that he's cooking up.
Right.
So it's going to be a very unique experience. And like I said, if it wasn't the right situation, I would have been like, no, I don't want to do this. But there was so much that sounds right about it. That is just so motivating because I don't know, I just love actual independent wrestling, and I feel like it's kind of dying right now. And I think the Collective is gonna, don't misconstrue that statement because everyone says independent wrestling is thriving right now. It is, but there's a lot of outside interests that are starting to get involved with companies and trying to take more control over these companies, and especially the talent. I think who knows what talent is going to be even available but come April.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are going on in the world of wrestling, but I love that the Collective is just going to be a group of 10 independent wrestling promoters present their different visions at one location where the most wrestling fans are going to be in the world.
Yeah, and that's at White Eagle Hall there in Jersey City, Jersey, starting April 4th when we're there. And,
Thursday.
Rolling Friday the 5th, and a couple shows there during the day, Saturday the 6th. There's a tweet from you that you put out the other day, and I really enjoyed it. You said, I haven't booked anything for my Mania weekend show because most of my ideas could easily be dead by the time April rolls around. Buy some tickets, though.
I haven't booked that. I haven't really booked anything for it, honestly. A lot of these guys, I've already seen shows that have complete lineups already for the collective, and they're awesome. But
that seems crazy.
I'm too worried. I mean, just based on my experience of trying to book a show 2 months out and seeing how many things have to change.
Well, think about what we did for Akron for the Rubber City Con. We had Kevin Nash booked many months out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like so many things can change, and there's so many rumors of people getting signed, and not only from WWE but Ring of Honor signing people, MLW signing people, Impact signing people. Then you hear these rumors of this Jim Ross, Chris Jericho company. So much stuff could change between now and April. It's hard for me to sit here and be like, yes, this is my show. I'm locked into it. And yeah, I want to I want to involve some fucking weird wrestlers. Maybe not, who knows how this thing is going to take shape, because so many things are going to happen over the next few months. But yeah, I would love to book some guy that could, a lot of the guys on my I want to consider these guys for WrestleMania weekend. They're definitely old enough or live the lifestyle to where they could wind up dead by April.
It's not just injuries. Sometimes it's death.
Yeah, I mean, it could be old age, there's some of these guys are up there that I'm thinking about.
Do you want to leave any teases about who you're thinking about, or no? You want to play it close?
I'm playing it close to the vest right now.
Okay, all right.
It's like I said, it's a war zone out there.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, there's so many shows being announced, and another thing that I like about the collective was, this was something that was discussed. All the promoters kind of have a group chat amongst the whole collective group.
Yeah,
and everybody agreed. It wasn't like hey, we're doing this ticket. If you want to be involved, you have to do it. Everybody agreed as a group to take less money to offer these group packages for the weekend. So there's VIP package. There's very little of those for front row. And then general admission packages in which all the promoters agreed to take less money just for the greater good of what the collective is trying to be.
Yeah.
Which, I think is great when you can get, 10 promoters to agree on something especially involving money.
Well, and the whole idea is a cool concept because at the end of the day here, it's the fans that this is about and who is doing this for. So if you can make it a little bit more affordable for people to go to all of these shows, or at least a good portion of them,
right?
Why not do it?
That's the thing is, that's just kind of the independent spirit of the whole operation.
Yeah. You're not going to WrestleMania weekend without those people. You know what I mean? They're the ones who got you there. They're the ones who helped make AIW, and the same with all these other promotions. So why the heck wouldn't you guys want to put the most amount of people in the venue as possible?
Right. And, I'll talk about our ticket prices, because our ticket prices are obviously more expensive than a regular AIW show. But, as we talked about, the expenses going into this are going to be much, much greater than an actual AIW show. But I think that we still kept them cheap enough. And, for what we're going to try to do, I'm probably going to try to plan it to where I spend almost every dollar of a potential ticket that could come in.
Yeah, rather than getting any sort of profit or holdover.
Yeah, so, it's kind of that's another thing. It's let's see how the tickets are going before I start booking, I could book some guy that wants a ton of money that I just think is a funny joke, and then we don't sell any tickets. So like, it's kind of like a wait and see. But I try to keep it like fairly priced. For the most part, the tickets range from 65 to 25, and there's we never do tiered ticketing or anything like that. So like that was like a whole different world for me. We had to I had to get an Eventbrite account and do this map it out based on rows and things like that.
A completely different setup than what we've ever been
used to. What some people need to realize is like this venue is much smaller than some of the other venue locations. So it's kind of like going to be first come first serve for a lot of these shows, because some of these places they're running venues that'll fit 2,000 people, but I think max we're going in 700 or 800.
Okay.
With a lot of that being standing room only in the GA. Like the GA general admission disclaimer is all standing room only at the Collective. Then so if you want to sit, those chairs are going to be, a little bit upper priced, because that's the only way that we could fit more people in is to do standing room only.
Well, and you have to realize that everything in Jersey is a bit more expensive than Cleveland.
Well, right. And, initially this was going to happen in New York City, but, after going over the logistics of being in New York City and the athletic commission fees and everything else, it was going to just raise the ticket prices and everything so much more because of all the different regulations. So we're just over whatever body of water that is. I don't know if it's a river or the ocean or whatever it is.
In Jersey? Oh, where Whitehall is?
Yeah, it's like right over New York City.
Eagle?
It's New York City and whatever splits New York City and New Jersey.
Oh, yeah. It's
is that the Hudson River? Is that the Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah, that's the Hudson.
Is it a bay? I don't know.
I believe it's the Hudson River.
Somebody get to me with that. But whatever body of water that is, we are right over the body of water from New York.
It's not the Atlantic Ocean.
There's an ocean over there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's on the east side of both of them.
Oh, well, whatever.
The ocean runs alongside both of them. If it comes in, then it's going to be a bay or harbor or something. But I think it's a river that it goes over. Hell if I know.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of bridges that connect the two.
But we're right over. There's public transportation that can get you from New York City. There's subway, trains, and I think there's a boat that takes people over. I don't know.
Maybe I'll stay at the Kingston family house in Yonkers.
I don't know how far Yonkers is. I got an Airbnb. I'm staying in Elizabeth, New Jersey. I don't even know where the fuck that is, but it's close enough.
Here's a question I feel like people are going to want to know as we get closer, and it may change as we get closer. John Thorne is notorious for his commentary during independent wrestling shows at Mania Weekend. Will you be on commentary for your own show?
Probably not. No.
No.
No, I'm going to be sober as a judge.
Will we be rocking the earpieces?
Oh, the earpieces are going to be going.
They're going to be in play?
That's the whole reason why we got them. I got to get this show running tight. Even though we're running at midnight, got to be done by noon on Saturday or Friday for Chikara.
Yeah. Are we planning a 10 or 11 hour show there?
You never know, man. With all these fucking ideas I got written down on my dry erase board upstairs.
How big is this dry erase board?
It takes up a whole wall, brother.
Oh, that's a big dry erase board right there. You live this lavish lifestyle in this mansion of yours.
Got it on Amazon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you get that yourself?
Yeah, I know how to use Amazon Prime.
The dry erase board you purchased for yourself. At least one thing in this place.
Well, it's for the company.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Put it on the company card.
Fair enough. Anything else you want to cover here about the Collective? Obviously, this is going to be an ongoing topic of conversation, and we'll revisit it as we get closer and things change to it. But this is at least the background of how we even got involved.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely an ongoing thing, and it's going to be an ongoing promotional thing, because we do need to sell those tickets. We can't wait till the week of to try to sell this thing out,
Right.
like we gotta, and I'm not expecting a sellout, but I would like to sell a decent amount of tickets. I'm not going to get ahead of myself and say like AIW is going to sell the place out, because we've never sold that many tickets ever in our existence. So I don't think that it's going to start this time, but your support is definitely needed, because we're going to need a good amount of people in there for this thing to work out for us. You know what I mean? Because this is gigantic risk. Even though I've built up a rainy day fund or whatever you want to call it. I mean, independent wrestling independent wrestling rainy day fund and like a real adult human being savings are two totally different things.
Yeah.
And, this could go very bad very quickly. But that's why, I was trying to be kind of proactive and get the tickets on sale and get the word out. And, we only have about 6 front row tickets left somehow already, which is
that's
a good sign, but that's a long way to go to 700 or 800 tickets.
And I guess that becomes a question too. How do you overcome the fact that we're a very Cleveland-based, Ohio-centric company, and now we're like some of these independents, they do have shows all over the place, but we run basically in the same town every single time. For us, going outside of our area is going to Akron, but this is going to be states away.
This is
the whole fan base obviously not going to.
It's a big step. We do have a fan base through DVD and VOD and MP4 and YouTube and social media, and like we do have a fan base that reaches very far. We did sell tickets already for the Mania Weekend show in the United Kingdom, which is pretty rad. So, we do have a reach. Obviously, it's not as strong as, some of these other companies, or, it's not as strong as, if, you're throwing the Young Bucks out there and, they're going to sell every ticket in the building. We don't have that benefit to be able to do that. But, it's really going to just boil down to just like trying to promote it and, like using this podcast and using social media and, doing everything we can to get the word out and try to make people understand that the collective, this could be an ongoing thing, if it's successful for, all the parties involved. And don't just support the AIW shows, support all the shows.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to give their best. Everyone's planning on putting their best foot forward as much as they can, based on whatever financial restraints or, that's the thing, is this is a business. We can't just be like, hey, we're going to book all these people, and then, you have to be able to pay for that and afford it. So, it's a thing that could go very good or very bad for all the promotions involved, especially AIW, because, like I said, I've kind of become obsessive compulsive about this thing already, and I'm looking at the ticket sales every day, and I'm, looking at how much we have to pay before we even have to run the show is like, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things to where it's just going to be continuously getting the word out and trying to encourage people to support this show and buy tickets. There's going to be a lot of competition that weekend, and I understand everybody's not rich and everybody cannot go to every single show that's happening that weekend, but I would definitely appreciate it if you come to mine Thursday at midnight on April 4th.
Shout out to the Goldstein brothers who already bought their tickets.
Yeah, dude, those guys are crazy.
Very excited to have us come into Jersey.
Yeah, they came for Gauntlet last year, and those guys are very excited that we were coming to their neck of the woods.
Yeah, we're excited to see them. All right, hold that thought right there. I gotta take a drink here. Grab a refill on my Muscle Vodka, one of our new sponsors. Check out Muscle Vodka. Ask for them whatever bar you go to. You go to a liquor store and you like to pick some stuff up, grab it. It is gluten-free, no GMOs. It's made with organic properties. There's no sugar. There's no carbs. So I would imagine a lot of you like to work out, and sometimes you don't want to add extra alcohol or calories in there. Hey, this could be the thing for you. It tastes good. It's fantastic. Hell, you're not even going to notice if it's in some of the mixers that you throw it in there with. But that's what we're drinking now. So next time you're out at a bar, if they don't have it, tell them to get it. Muscle vodka. And I'll refill this, and I'm going to wrap it up with this because you brought up a good point in that, you're kind of telling the AIW fans to go support the other shows too. But is part of the excitement that while we can't bring our entire fan base there, you are potentially going to grab hold of another huge, large fan base? Because I got to imagine there's a lot of people who are looking at this and like, oh yeah, I'll go check this out.
I've
heard a couple things about
I think that's kind of also the point too, is like, let's get all these promotions together and let's see if we can kind of cross-pollinate fan bases, and we'll get some of yours and you'll get some of ours, and this fan won't like what you do, but they're going to like what this promotion does, and maybe your fans don't like AIW but like what Nova Pro does or IWS does. I think that's also the great benefit of this, is it has potential to cross all these different resources and bring them to one destination, and hopefully not only be successful for all the promotions involved just for the weekend, but get some ongoing support for all of the companies. And that's what independent wrestling is all about, is kind of just this grassroots kind of movement. And that's why I feel it's kind of like just something doesn't feel right about how things are going in independent wrestling as far as I'm concerned, looking at it and just seeing WWE like pushing their influences on things, and who knows, don't get me wrong, they could be like, hey, here's all this money, do what we say, and it could be a lot of money, it could be hard to say no to,
right? But
I'm just saying from what I'm doing in my current situation, I'm looking at that, and that is not independent wrestling to me, and I don't want independent wrestling to die. So it's the collective, this whole thing just feels right to do, and I think it could be very beneficial for not only promotions but fans. Fans can discover so many new things and so many new talent. There's a lot of guys that you've seen already a zillion times that are going to be wrestling on a lot of these other shows, but there's going to be guys that are on these shows of the collective that you're not too familiar with. So it's going to be a good opportunity in something fresh for the fans.
I think it's a great point to kind of end things on. So if you want the tickets, if you haven't gotten them yet, you can follow us on social media. The link's all there.
You could just go to
Wrestling.
Yeah, you could just go to shop.aiwrestling.com. They're available in our store now.
Perfect.
It's through Eventbrite, but that's way too long to.
But the link is on our website now.
Yeah, it's I don't know what you call it, HTML'd in there.
Okay.
It's Jesse the Mark, the webmaster.
It's all linked up in there.
He made it just look like our regular ticket store looks.
Awesome.
But it takes you right to Eventbrite. So, like I said, there's about 6 front row tickets left. Ringside, there's about 7 stage front rows left, and then it becomes like there's like this mishmash of like amounts of seats in every row. Like third row is really hot right now. I don't know why. Third row is hot.
Well, get those third row seats and more. Get it all at shop.aiwrestling.com. And again, follow us on social media at AI Wrestling. Absolute Intense Wrestling on Facebook. Keep up to date on things that happen, not just for the collective, but all of our shows leading up to that.
AIW, The Slumber Party Massacre takes place on April 4th at 11:59 p.m.
Do you want to tell anybody about the name before we sign off?
There were so many different names that we tried to come up with. But it was originally going to be Swoggle's Slumber Party, but
it still could be Swoggle's Slumber Party Massacre, I guess.
But after the Joey Ryan Penis Party, I kind of thought, well, I hope like every show's not named like presented by a wrestler. So
yeah.
Then we went through like all sorts of different ideas. Devils in Jersey City was really close.
Right.
That was a close one. And then I went with AIW's Slumber Party Massacre just based on the fact that Hornswoggle said he absolutely hates that name. Hates it. Doesn't understand it.
He doesn't need to understand it.
But the Slumber Party Massacre was on there not only because it's late at night and like give like the slumber party like joke or whatever, but the killer in Slumber Party Massacre's last name is Thorne, so
you go.
Little tie-in for you.
There you go. The Easter egg right there. Well, for John Thorne and...
Because that means I'm going to kill all the competition at the collective.
There you go.
No, I'm just kidding.
For John Thorne and nobody else on this episode, my name's Steve Guy, and we'll talk to you next week here on The Card is Going to Change.
Buy tickets, please.